Hello, everybody. Okay, we are live. Hey, everybody. Sorry, we are remote, as you can tell. Matt Edwards here, Idaho Signal is on the air. I am in Boise this week, down at the Capitol, as we've completed our Capitol Clarity event yesterday in the Lincoln Auditorium in the Senate side of the Capitol, if you're down here at the Capitol. Great day, great presentation on learning how door knocking wins wars. But a lot of fireworks expected this week as a lot of bills start getting flying through, a lot of different tactics being used. It's really amazing, especially when you're down here in the halls and you're talking with people and you're seeing the deal making, you're seeing how people frame the conversation, and you really have to be on your toes, as they say. And so we are here today at the Capitol. What we have planned for you today is a couple things. We're gonna go live to the floor. Can we bring up the live shot of the floor right now?
You're gonna reach your pocket,
and they will be going through and debating some bills. And we're just going to dip in here. I'm going to actually go back inside and pay attention and watch the debate as well. But also yesterday in the House State Affairs Committee, it was a very busy day there as well. And so we have some clips. In fact, we have the entire committee hearing yesterday to show you. So we might dip out between the two here and just kind of keep you up to speed about what's going on here at the Capitol as I conduct several meetings and meet with activists and meet with some other interested parties that are all here to help preserve our shared values. And so it's truly a great time to be here with everybody down. All right, let's do this. I did want to break some other news for you, but I'm going to wait for that. Sorry, I probably shouldn't have said anything, but that's just also a notice to the guys in the booth there. But let's go ahead. We'll continue watching what's happening on the House floor. And if there's time left in the broadcast, we'll shoot over the House State Affairs Committee yesterday and find out which bills had their hearing, which bills got printed, and we'll have more on that next week when I'm back in North Idaho, safe and sound, we hope. All right, folks, enjoy your Friday.
Scenarios. So I'd appreciate your green vote on this piece of legislation.
Debate is closed. Question is to House Bill 629 passed the House. Clerk will lock the machine. Members cast their votes. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Clerk will lock the machine and report the pairs.
Tanner 14 votes aye, Shepard votes nay. Thompson votes aye, Crane 13 votes nay.
43 ayes, 26 nay, 1 absent excused. Majority having voted in favor of House Bill 629. House Bill 629 is passed the House. So correction of title.
No correction of title.
Hearing none, the title is approved. Bill transferred to Senate. The House will now have before it House Bill 503. Good gentleman from 29.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I ask unanimous consent to dispense with further reading of House Bill 503.
Council has been requested. Is there objection? Hearing none, gentleman has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Bill 503 moves the Idaho Soil and Water Conservation Commission from the Department of Agriculture to the Department of Water Resources. The purpose is to take advantage of some scale and efficiencies that can be provided with the Department of Water Resources, particularly their technical bandwidth and their focus on water, and they also will have some additional career growth opportunities, particularly for the engineers that can be able to advance better within the Department of Water Resources. This move was reviewed extensively, had substantial stakeholder engagement and some professional reporting and studies. It will preserve the non-regulatory, voluntary independence of the Soil and Water Conservation Commission. It is supported by the Association of Soil and Conservation Districts, representing 50 soil and water conservation districts around the state. It was unanimously supported by our DOJ Task Force, similarly by our House Ag Committee. It's expected to save our state general fund about $107,000 in personnel costs, with additional savings coming and some other operational savings that are hard to predict right now, but it's going to be at least $107,000. With that, I'd ask for your support.
Further motions, further debate on the motion. Hearing none, hearing no negative debate, debate is closed. Question is, shall House Bill 503 pass the House? Clerk will lock machine. Members will cast their votes. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Clerk will lock machine, record the roll. 67 ayes, 3 absent and excused, majority having voted in favor of House Bill 503. House Bill 503 is passed House. Is there correction in title?
No correction in title.
Hearing none, the title is approved. Bill will be transferred to the Senate. The House will now have before it House Bill, the gentleman, 22.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for privilege and then motion.
That's the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate Concurrent Resolution 115 on the second page there is really a companion that goes with the last legislation that we just heard here. We'd like to have them kind of heard together. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent that Senate Concurrent Resolution 115 be placed on the top of the third reading calendar.
Unanimous consent has been requested to place House Senate Concurrent Resolution number 115 at the top of the third reading calendar. Is objection? Hearing none, so ordered, and the House will have under consideration Senate Concurrent Resolution 115. The gentleman, 24.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I ask unanimous consent to forego the narration of Senate Concurrent Resolution 115.
Unanimous consent has been requested. Is there objection? Hearing none, gentleman has the floor.
Mr. Speaker, the good gentleman from 29 stole all my thunder. So I'll just follow up with a couple things. The essence of this resolution, if you look on the bottom, page 1, line 41, says to ensure that any proposed consolidation of the two entities retains the voluntary, non-regulatory mission and partnership-centered focus of the Soil and Water Conservation Commission and its districts. And that's the main focus, Mr. Speaker, of the districts. I have been a supervisor since 1977. So I've had a lot of history here. I've been through the chairs of ISCD, the Idaho Conservation Soil District Conservation Association, and also on National Association. So one of the things that I learned over all of these years is about every 15 or 20 years, something happens to soil conservation districts within their state. And it's interesting that this is about between the 15 and 20 year period that the districts and the commission are being moved again. So the main thing is to make sure that once they're placed here, that we have the best situation for the districts and the commission to function and to protect their mission, what they do best for both the commission and the districts and Department of Water Resources. So I just encourage your support of this. We have the opportunity here to formulate a relationship better than we've ever had before. We've gone through the hearings and the meetings, and there was a facilitation group that invited comments from the entire state, from everyone, and they came up with a set of questions and ideas for the best relationship. So I think this is the best situation that could happen for both entities. I encourage your support for this.
For the motion, is there further debate on the motion? Hearing none and hearing no negative debate, debate is closed. Question is, shall Senate Concurrent Resolution 115 pass the House? Clerk will unlock the machine and members will cast their votes. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Clerk will lock machine, record the roll. 67 ayes, 3 absent and excused, majority having voted in favor of Senate Concurrent Resolution number 115, Senate Concurrent Resolution 115 pass the House. Is there correction title?
No correction in title.
Hearing none, the title is approved. Bill will be transmitted to the Senate. The House will now have before it House Bill 543. Good gentleman from 30.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I ask unanimous consent to dispense a further reading of House Bill 543.
Unanimous consent has been requested. Is there objection? Hearing none, gentleman has the floor.
Thank you. Thank you, friends. This should be pretty easy. A few years back, the federal government passed a bill that included something called the Secure Act 2.0 that added new provisions to retirement plans. One of those provisions was to allow for Roth contributions or after-tax contributions into 401ks more freely. And that meant that Percy, which has Percy Choice, which is a 401k, needed to update its language in order to comply with the Secure Act 2.0. So if you look on this bill on page 2, if you want to, the only changes being made are down on lines 44, essentially 42 through 45, where we are adding Roth contributions and investment earnings into Percy's Choice 401k. With that, I'd appreciate your green light so we can stay in compliance.
Further motions, further debate on the motion. Hearing none, hearing no negative debate, debate is closed. Question is House Bill 543 passed the House. Clerk will lock the machine. Members cast their votes. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Clerk will lock the machine, record the roll. 67 ayes, 3 absent, excused. Majority having voted in favor of House Bill 543. House Bill 543 is passed the House. Correction title.
No correction in title.
Hearing none, title is approved. Bill returns to Senate. Gentleman 22.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I ask unanimous consent that the remaining bills on the third reading calendar hold their place until Monday, February 23rd, 2026.
Unanimous consent has been requested. Is there objection? Hearing none, so order. Remaining bills on the third reading calendar hold their place until Monday. Without objection, the House will now advance to the 15th order of business. Announcements. House at the 15th order of business. Are there announcements? Gentleman from 3.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for a personal privilege.
Gentleman has the floor.
Good body, I would ask this body to welcome Tim Trado from up in Coeur d'Alene.
Welcome. Further announcements. Good lady 29.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker, for a personal privilege.
Good lady has the floor.
I would like to recognize my love of my life and my favorite constituent, my husband, Rich Burgoyne. Thank you.
Welcome. Further announcements. Gentleman 24.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for a privilege.
Gentleman has the floor.
I would like to introduce today my wife Cheryl is here and my intern who's been slaving away over a hot computer, Taylor Stapp. She's from Gooding and a local girl, if you will, so please welcome them.
Welcome. Further announcements. Gentleman 25.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for a personal privilege.
Gentleman has the floor.
My wife isn't here today, but there's 2 wonderful people up there that I'd like to say hello to. That'd be Dan McKnight and Matt Edwards.
Welcome. Further announcements. Gentleman 3.
Thank you, Mr.
Forgot
Speaker.
somebody.
For an announcement.
Gentleman has the floor.
So there is going to be a lunch on Monday where Donald Trump Jr. will be attending. And there should be an invitation in everyone's mail that you have to RSVP for because Secret Service has to do background checks. So if you haven't got that, please do that as soon as possible. Thank you.
Further announcements. Hearing none. Clerk may read.
House Agricultural Affairs Committee will not meet Friday, February 20th, Raymond, Chairman. House Environment, Energy, and Technology Committee will not meet Friday, February 20th, Barbieri, Chairman. House Local Government Committee will not meet Friday, February 20th, Ehart, Chairman. And House Transportation and Defense Committee will not meet Friday, February 20th, Palmer, Chairman. For Monday, House Education Committee will meet Monday, February 23rd at 9 a.m., room EW 41, Hawkins, Chairman. House Health and Welfare Committee will meet Monday, February 23rd at 9 a.m., room EW 20, Vanderwoude, Chairman. House Revenue and Taxation Committee will meet Monday, February 23rd at 9 a.m., room EW 42, Cannon, Chairman. And House State Affairs Committee will meet Monday, February 23rd at 9 a.m., room EW 40, Crane 13, Chairman.
Are there further announcements? Hearing none, the House now advanced 16th order of business adjournment. House at 16th order of business. Gentleman 22.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that the House do now adjourn to the hour of 10:30. 10:30, Monday, February 23rd, 2026.
Good lady from 18.
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
You've heard the motion, non-debatable motion. All those in favor of adjourning say aye. Those opposed say nay. Motion passes and the House adjourned until the hour of 10:30 on Monday, February 23rd, 2026.
And that's exactly what happened. You want to pull the tape? You can pull the tape because we now got video.
We'll come to order. First item on our agenda today is RS 33231. Representative Church, welcome to House State Affairs.
Monica Church, District 19, Boise and Eagle. Before you is a very simple RS. This is a piece of legislation that would pair with 501 that we voted on yesterday in the full House, Representative Scogg's bill that would require signature gatherers to be qualified electors and to wear name tags, allowing people to know that they are paid signature gathering individuals. This one would have the same effect for those canvassing, in-person canvassing door to door. They would be qualified electors and required to wear a name badge saying so. And I would stand open for questions.
Thank you, Representative Church. Are there questions? Representative Digert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Church. Does this affect in any way volunteers who do the same kind of activities on behalf of a candidate?
Representative Church.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Representative Digert. If I can get you to go to lines on page 2, lines 3 through 11, those are the exceptions. The exceptions include volunteers. They also include people that work for a candidate or a campaign, and they also excludes phone banking.
Any further questions? Representative Scogg.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move to introduce RS 33231.
Committee, we have a motion to introduce RS 33231. Is there discussion on that motion or further questions for Representative Church? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The motion is carried and it will be done. The committee will now consideration RS 33375. Representative Haas, welcome to House State Affairs. Is this your first bill this year? It is. Oh, well, fantastic. We do not have the same rule in committee that we have on the floor. So, because we don't get to reverse our votes in here. But man, we're honored that your first bill that you'd ever present as a legislator was in state affairs. So.
I'm honored as well, and I feel some comfort because we know each other. So thank you. I'm Annie Haas. I represent District 16, which is parts of West Boise and Garden City. And this legislation amends Idaho Code Section 34903 to revise ballot rotation requirements by applying the current candidate name rotation requirements, which apply to federal, state, county, and local offices in political entities of more than 25,000 voters. Right now, that threshold is 100,000 voters, and that means that for most elections in Idaho, we just don't have name candidate rotation on our ballots. And when we've got, like, you know, for instance, a primary where there's a pool of Republicans on the ballot, this would mean that in districts, legislative districts where there's 25,000 or more registered voters, that those names would be rotated so that, you know, for instance, Representative Mickelson's name wouldn't be down at the bottom, you know, near every time because her last name starts with an M. And so this would mean that everyone who's on the ballot would have their name appear near the top, roughly, or at the top, roughly the same amount of time. So, and I'll stand for questions.
Thank you, Representative Haas. Are there questions for Representative Haas? Seeing none, Representative Mickelson.
Just for motion. For motion, Mr. Chairman, I move RS 33231.
No.
Oh, sorry, 33375. Sorry, wrong number on that one.
You move to what?
Print the bill.
Nicholson, I know you got here a little bit late. We took action on 33231.
I
So,
moved-
so you want the move to introduce RS 33375?
Yes.
All right. Chair, interpret it. Are there questions? Representative Crane, 12.
I'll support the motion simply because it's the first time making a motion down there, Representative Mickelson.
All right, committee. We have a motion to introduce RS 33375. Is there discussion on that motion? Representative Alfieri.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Representative Hawes. I just want to let you know that even though my last name starts with an A, I will support the motion as well.
Thank you so much.
You're reeling them in left and right here. Committee, the motion is to introduce RS 33375. Is there discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. The motion is carried. It will be done.
Thank you.
The committee will now consideration RS 33429. Representative Boyle. The loggers are absolutely thrilled with this bill. The amount of wood that it took to produce this. All right, Representative.
Thank you, Representative Crane. I'm Representative Judy Boyle, District 9, and yes, the loggers are thrilled with this for many reasons. This is to merge two different agencies that we have. Some of the things they do are the same, but they are very different types of help for our people. So Office of Species Conservation, gosh, I think the legislature did it 20 years ago. It deals with the Endangered Species Act. And as you probably all know, that is very difficult for individuals, private property owners, and industry to deal with. And they really do help interpret basically what regular people need and the federal government. And the other one is an executive order agency, which I've always not liked, that agencies are made with executive orders. And that one, it is energy and minerals. So it's also a coordinating agency. The changes in this gigantic bill are only 4 pages. The rest is pretty much the same. So it's legislative intent, and it's spelling out exactly with definitions what everything means.
Perfect. Are there questions for Representative Boyle? Representative Crane, 12.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move to introduce RS 33429.
Committee, we have a motion to introduce RS 33429. Are there further questions or discussion? Representative Dygert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Boyle, I'm going to support the motion, and I like where we're going here. When you come back for the hearing, would you please bring the information that makes sure that both of these agencies are not losing the mission that they each have, because they both are very important constituents that I have.
Okay. Further discussion on the motion. The motion is to introduce RS 33429. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. The motion is carried. It will be done. The committee on our consideration, RS 33438. Representative Dygert. Welcome to House State Affairs.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for having me. I'm Representative Sean Dygert, District 23, which is Southern Ada County, Southern Ada County, Kenny County, and then all of Owyhee County. RS 33438 is some word fixing we're doing to a House bill I had earlier, H582, to clarify some wording and add a little bit of specific language, there we go, to what we're trying to do here. What it is, a constituent of mine came to me and said, creating a home-based business, particularly one that deals with homesteading and trying to monetize that on social media and trying to keep a layer of where her residence actually is for all kinds of crazy people that we have in the world today to show up to her house. And so we got working on this. And what it does is it allows people who are creating an LLC, instead of providing their home residential address for the business, they can use what's called a commercial registered agent, which is an important term because that is an Idaho entity with the Secretary of State's office registered to fill this function. My son works with a lot of LLCs. He has a freight brokering business, which a lot of his clients are highly mobile. He loves the commercial registered agent as an address because he knows that is a servable address. Any legal documents, any bills, collections, anything, he knows when it gets there, that is they've received it, and that is a legal address. And what we added the number 1 and the 2 from the other bill, so that the first thing they'll have to attest that the physical address, they have no other physical address than their residential, and that the commercial registered agent actually agrees and consents to using that particular address for them to do business. This does not take away any information at all that is already being provided to the Secretary of State within LLC, and they're not getting anonymity, and they're not being able to hide them. And there's still a few layers to be able to find them there. So with that, I'd ask you to introduce RS 33438.
Representative Dygert, and I believe that bill was in the Business Committee. So this bill, if should it get introduced, would go to the Business Committee. Is that correct?
Mr. Chairman, that would be correct.
And you do have permission from that chairman to hear this legislation?
Yes.
Okay. All right, perfect. Representative Hawes?
For a motion?
Certainly.
I would move to print RS 33438.
Committee, we have a motion to print RS 33438. Is there discussion on that motion or further questions? Representative Alfieri?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Representative Dygert. Does that commercial agent have to be in Idaho?
Representative Dygert?
Mr. Chairman, Representative Alfieri, yes, they do. To have that title, they have to be an Idaho entity.
Great, thank you.
Further discussion on the motion or questions? Seeing none, the motion is to introduce RS 33438. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The motion is carried. It will be done. The committee will now consideration RS 33449. Representative Skog. Welcome to House State Affairs.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Committee, Bruce Skog, District 10, Star, Middleton, and Nampa areas. This bill will look very familiar to you because you have already RS'd and introduced this bill in the past. There were some changes that need to be made. We've had some people, some on this committee, that did not care for the civil cause of action. So I changed the wording quite a bit on that with the council of others. It's still there, but it's in a different format. And I think that takes care of people that were complaining about that issue. And then some of the definitions were changed. As you'll recall, this is a bill that bans social transitioning without parental knowledge of children from one sex to the other. We had testimony in years past when we did H71 a couple years ago. People come in and say, my child was transitioned socially without my knowledge at a school or clinic, something like that, and caused pretty serious damage without the parents' knowledge. So we want to put a stop to that. There's no criminal penalty. It allows the Attorney General to intervene and allows for private lawsuits within parameters. And I think it's set up very fair in that, with the help of others on those changes. This will go to House Judiciary and Rules, and I have permission from the chairman to send it to that committee.
Well, do you have permission from the chairman to hear it in June rules is the question.
Well, yeah, we'll find out about
All
that.
right.
So I'd appreciate an introduction, committee. Thank
Certainly.
you.
Are there questions or a motion? Representative Mickelson.
I'm just wondering how you can tell me, or Mr. Chairman and Representative Skog, I'm sorry. I'm just wondering if you can tell me how it's different, because we still see an aggrieved person under a civil action and $100,000. What's different between this and the last one you brought before us?
Representative Skog.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Mickelson, the $100,000 not for the aggrieved person, it's for the Attorney General, and now those funds would go back, if obtained, to the general fund of the state.
Follow up?
Follow up.
So in essence, then the Attorney General could get a bounty off of this.
Representative Skog.
Mr. Chairman, Representative Mickelson, I take a little bit of umbrage about the term bounty. The Attorney General can go after bad actors and get a punishment on them that is appropriate, and it doesn't go to the Attorney General's office. It would go to the state general fund, and that is similar to many other areas of legislation that we have passed in this body.
Follow up.
Yeah, follow up. My question is why 100,000? All the rest of them we've seen have been like 10,000. Suddenly we're going to 100,000 on this? I'm just wondering.
Representative Skog.
Mr. Chairman, Representative Mickelson, you are wrong. Those $10,000 are with private causes of action, not attorney general causes of action.
So what's, Mr.
Follow-up?
Chairman, can you tell us what the difference is between a private right of action versus an attorney general cause of action?
Representative Crane, Chairman Crane, Representative Nicholson, I think that would be obvious. Private right of action is a private citizen taking action. The state is taking action through the attorney general.
Representative Hawes.
Thank you for a question.
Certainly.
I'm wondering, I noticed in this new version, the definition of covered entity has changed a bit. The last version we saw included all mandatory reporters, which would have been like every adult in the state of Idaho. And this one has been changed to be primary or secondary educational institution, a child care provider, or a medical, behavioral, or mental health care provider. And I'm just wondering about those last three categories and the, sort of duties of the separate legal duties that they have to maintain confidentiality regarding their patients, and how this mandate squares with those and if they're in conflict.
Representative Skog.
Mr. Chairman, Representative Hawes, I don't see the conflict when someone is hiding these types of behaviors that they're putting on children without the parental knowledge. The parental right to know what's happening to their children overrides that objection.
Follow-up?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Representative Skog. So I suppose that leads to the question of, if a minor is communicating maybe a mental health issue with their therapist or whatnot, and that involves like, I'm a girl, I really want to cut my hair short or something like that. I mean, for lack of a better example, is that something that would fall under this act? Or, what is the scope of the social transition, I suppose? That's the question.
Mr. Chairman, Representative Hawes, the scope, it would include if a child is wanting to change their gender, doing the haircutting to change their gender identity, would have to reach that. Getting a haircut would not apply.
Follow-up?
Thank you. So my question then is, if a child is receiving therapy with a licensed mental health care provider and they're talking about how they feel about their gender, is that a situation where that licensed healthcare provider would need to report that to the parents under this bill?
Representative Skog.
Chairman Crane, Representative Hawes, I don't like to answer hypotheticals because they get in the extremes. I like to ask hypotheticals like you do, but yes, that would apply if they're talking about changing gender. If the child's talking about changing gender, the parent should know in any situation like that.
Another hypothetical?
No, thank you, Chairman Crane.
Would you like to follow up?
A comment.
Certainly.
I am concerned that there would be some conflict between the laws that govern how mental health care providers must provide their care to minors and this requirement. And so I think that there's a potential that there could be a significant amount of litigation around that.
Representative, would you like to respond?
No,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Okay.
thank you.
Representative Alfieri.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move to introduce RS 33449.
Committee, we have a motion to introduce RS 33449. Is there discussion on that motion or further questions? Representative Church.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Representative Skog. Just another kind of definitional question. I noticed that, so the definition of social transition, the one thing that was removed was mannerisms, but you did continue to include adopting a name, pronoun, appearance, or dress that does not correspond to an individual's sex. And so I'm just wondering, I know we don't like hypotheticals, but appearance and dress and name, how would one assure that the child that they are communicating with is not adopting a name, appearance, or dress of the opposite gender. Let me just give a quick example. As a high school teacher, kids come in sweatpants and hoodies, and a lot of times athletes go by their last name. How would I know when I've crossed a line when a student is adopting a name, appearance, or dress of the opposite sex, or that a parent doesn't know?
Representative Scott.
Chairman Crane, Representative Church, I suppose it comes down to common sense. You have to be able to define a woman and define a man. And if a child is coming in saying they want to be a boy when they're not a boy, or girl when they're not a girl, that's the line. It's not about how somebody dresses, but if it's the intent to change their gender and the parent doesn't know about it, the parent should be told.
Follow up?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Representative Scott. Then I wonder why the bill doesn't just say that, because the way that the bill is written is that you would be liable, or you would have the Attorney General, going after you as an educator if you didn't tell a parent that a child that you are engaged with has a name, appearance, or dress that does not correspond with the individual's sex. I went by Mo in high school. Would that be difficult? Or, girls named Evan or Ryan? If the point is what you say it is, okay, but the way the bill is written leaves a lot for an educator or therapist or whomever to wonder, am I in a situation where I need to communicate with the parents?
Representative Skog.
Chairman Crane, Representative Church, direct you to line 24, page 1 of the bill. I think it's pretty clear as you read the totality of the bill what its purposes are, and the court or the Attorney General would not misconstrue on these extreme hypotheticals. Quote, line 24, it is the intent of the legislature to prohibit any healthcare provider or educational institution from facilitating a pediatric sex transition or social transition without informing and obtaining informed consent from the minor child's parents or guardians. It's not about whether they're wearing sweatpants.
Follow up?
Just for a comment on that, and I do appreciate it. And I think we've talked about this a lot in this session, that it's not, the cost is preparing for the lawsuit, right? The cost is preparing to be sued. That's where the real cost comes in. And, as an educator, I would feel the way that this is, the broadness, the way that this is written, that I would need to be contacting parents every single time an appearance, because that's the way it's written, that social transitioning means that you see a child adopting a name, pronouns, appearance, or dress that does not correspond with their individual sex. I would feel really obligated, because of the $100,000 that the Attorney General would have to come after me, to tell a parent anytime somebody showed up in sweatpants or had short hair or had a name that didn't align with a gender, I guess I'm determining. It's really, really broad.
Thank you, Representative Church. Would you like to respond to the comments? Okay. Representative Mickelson.
Back to this, I'm looking, Representative Scoggin, Mr. Chairman, I'm looking at lines 24 through 26, and he does talk
what page,
on the first page.
Okay.
And it says healthcare provider, educational institution, from facilitating a pediatric sex transition. Okay. So is a pediatric sex transition what? Can you just tell me what you mean by that?
Representative Skog.
Chairman Crane, Representative Mickelson, a pediatric is child under the age of 18, and sex transition is what is defined here and also in our other legislation that was House Bill H71. I don't recall the code section.
Okay, follow up. And I see down here on line 37, it refers to the code 18-1506C. Is that just is that a surgery, or is that just hormones, or is that just in their attitude and that they can talk like a boy if they're a girl, or if they're a girl, they can start talking like a boy? I mean, I'm just wondering what pediatric sex transition includes, what we're really talking about.
Representative Skog.
Chairman Crane, Representative Mickelson, it's in the statute. We worked for 2 years to pass in this House. It also includes those things that you mentioned, yes.
So, Mr. Chairman,
Would you like follow-up?
is it surgery then?
It is surgery, it is cross-sex hormone treatments, it is puberty blockers.
Okay, so then I guess then as I come.
Mickelson, do you want to?
Yeah, I have another question then. Okay, so then I come down here and the entities include an educational institution. So obviously, last time I checked, schools can't give drugs, and they certainly can't give surgery because we have a couple of laws on that already. But then we're going to open up schools to having to defend, and school districts having to defend a lawsuit from the Attorney General to the tune of $100,000.
Representative Skog.
Representative Crane, Representative Mickelson, or Chairman Crane, excuse me. If a school does, or educational facility does something so egregious as to allow social transition of a sex change of a child and refuses to tell the parents, yes, the Attorney General should go after them for $100,000. And it's not required the Attorney General do that. He looks at the totality of the circumstances and decides whether to pursue it or not.
Just one more follow-up question, sorry.
Certainly.
So at the beginning of the year, if you have, you happen to have seen a girl that's now suddenly dressing as a boy, and they come to school like that, is the school then to make the assumption that the parents don't know that their child is socially transitioning? Do they then need to stop and say, wait, stop at the door, we got to get your parents to come in and sign a thing that they're aware that you're dressing like a boy now and you're a girl?
Representative Skog.
Chairman Crane, Representative Mickelson, no.
Okay.
Chair has a question for you. So you have capped the damages at $100,000. Is that what I'm reading?
Mr. Chairman, the Attorney General, that's the amount the Attorney General can pursue for a state action.
Okay. Could the parents sue to get more than that? If it's determined that the school was definitely trying to facilitate a transition without parent knowledge, would I as a parent be able to sue for more than $100,000?
Chairman Crane, in any lawsuit, the damages can be proven whatever they might be. Suppose that social transitioning, unbeknownst to the parents, led to that child's permanent damage because they went on to do other things that are permanent to their bodies. Yes, that could be a substantial verdict, or much less. Still, they have to prove it to a court. And we did have people testify that these things were happening to their children. And I have 3 people that are prepared parents to testify at committee about these very things and what happened in their families. It was awful and kept secret, both in Idaho and outside of Idaho, from the parents while these things were happening to their children.
Okay. I just want to make sure we're not capping it because, yeah, it is wrong. Representative Hawes.
Thank you, Chairman. I would love an example, if you can give one, of what a social transition is.
Representative Skog.
Representative Crane, Chairman Crane, Representative Hawes. Yes, an example would be a child is seeing a counselor or a school teacher or someone in these positions described, and they start talking about, hey, I'm not comfortable with my body. I'm a girl, but I think I might want to be a boy. I'm reading these things on social media, and I think maybe really I am a boy, and I'd like to be called Jim instead of Susie. And then the counselor does not report that, or the counselor encourages that without parental knowledge. That would be an example.
Follow-up?
Thank you. Thank you for that. So there's an example of like an affirmative social, an affirmative desire by a child could there be an example where there's just a presentation of different, of something that is associated with a different gender? Would that be a social transition, or do you have to have the child like affirmatively say to someone, I want to transition?
Representative Skog.
Chairman Crane, Representative Hawes, again with the hypotheticals, there would need to be more details with that before I could answer that.
For a comment?
Certainly.
I understand hypotheticals are annoying, but I think there's just a lot in the definition of social transition that could be hypothetical, depending upon, the eye of the beholder. So I'm just a little concerned that we don't have more, that this isn't, there's just so much perception involved here, and then there's this massive potential liability. So I get worried when we have laws that depend so heavily on the perception of an individual, and then we've got big penalties involved.
Okay. Would you like to respond, Representative?
Chairman Crane, Representative Hawes, if these behaviors do occur and it's proven in a case before a court or a jury trial, there should be penalties. And as the parents that will testify in my committee would want those penalties, and they'd want them to be harsh. I would if it happened to my children or grandchildren.
Committee, we do have a motion to introduce RS 33449. Is there discussion on that motion? Representative Church.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just for a comment, I just want to make sure that the body is reading lines 38 through 41 on page 1, and then lines 1 through 2 on page 2 as to what actually constitutes the need for one of these entities to contact parents. And I just want to say again, like, if the point is that when an adult hears a child, affirm to them that they want to adopt a name, appearance, or dress different than their sex because they want to, transition from one gender to another, then that's what it should say. Right now it just says that anytime, you, the adult, looks at the name, looks at the child, looks at their clothing, and think, without knowing anything else, you don't even have to talk to them in the way that this is written, think that it is opposite of their sex. You would have to call the parents, because $100,000 from an attorney general is just, it's not worth your own, livelihood. And if we put this in statute, a name, appearance, and dress, other than the individual's sex, we're taking out history. I mean, there was a time when pink was a boy color, right? There was a time when certain names were girls and now they're boys. There was a time when long hair was it was a rite of passage for young men. These are just things that happen over time, and we would be codifying an idea in 2026 and without guardrails on affirming that I just think is really, really dangerous and is not doing exactly to the point what the sponsor wants.
Thank you, Representative Church. Representative Scott, would you like to reply?
No.
Okay. Committee, we do have a motion to introduce RS 33449. Is there discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The motion is carried. It will be done. Would you like to be recorded as voting no? Representative Church voting no. Representative Hawes voting no. Anyone else? Okay. Committee will now consideration House Bill 548. Representative Harris. Thank you for your patience.
Oh, no. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members of the committee, my name is Kyle Harris, District 7, parts of Nez Perce, Idaho, and Adams County. The good representative, Monica Church, over there referenced earlier that she had a simple bill. I believe mine's simpler. Before you is House Bill 548. It's a simple Fourth Amendment bill. It's not a boater safety bill. It's not a boating bill, but it is a Fourth Amendment bill. under the Constitution, you have a right to reasonable search and seizures, except for when you're on a boat. So when you're driving a car, you cannot be pulled over without reasonable suspicion. If you're driving a motorhome, reasonable suspicion. If you're doing anything, motorcycle, UTV, reasonable suspicion for that stop. You have to reasonably either committed a crime or suspicion of you committing a crime in order for you to be stopped. Somehow when you get on a boat, you lose that right. So all this bill does is says that law enforcement, in order to stop you while you are operating your boat on the water, they must have reasonable suspicion to stop you and then board and search your vessel. Sorry.
Are there questions? Representative Hawes?
For a motion,
Certainly.
I move to send House Bill 548 to the House with a due pass recommendation.
Committee, we have a motion to send House Bill 548 to the floor with a due pass recommendation. Is there discussion on that motion or further questions for Representative Harris? Representative Scott?
Mr. Chairman, Representative Harris, I see you have an RS directly underneath this. Is it your intention that 548 go to the floor?
Representative Harris?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Representative Scott, yes. So originally, there was a sheriff that did reach out with some concerns about being able to do boat inspections. Boat inspections can happen when you are launching your boat at the boat launch. So I did rewrite the RS just in case. I do prefer the original bill over the RS. So I would prefer to send the bill to the floor and kill the RS.
Representative Pohanka?
Chairman, Representative, for a question. So when I think of law enforcement, I also think of fish and game. I know when you're out duck hunting or goose hunting, whatever, a lot of times they may pull up beside you and just kind of want to check to see if you have your hunting license or the stamps, et cetera. I mean, is that a reasonable stop for them? Because they don't see a violation, they're just checking to see if you have your license.
Representative Harris?
Killed. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Representative Pahanka, I believe Fish and Game had some issues with Fourth Amendment egregious actions before in previous legislation that was addressed with them searching tents while you weren't there, things of that nature. So this, I believe, would also apply to them. There's no reason why Fish and Game should be able to just roll up on you while you're duck hunting just to see if you have ducks in your boat. They should have to be able to either been watching you shoot ducks and put ducks in your boat. They still need reasonable suspicion. Regardless of the situation, we all have constitutional rights. We all swore an oath to the Constitution of the United States and the state of Idaho, and this just reaffirms the fact that we are supporting that Constitution.
Representative Mickelson?
Yeah, just one question. I'm just wondering, boats have different safety standards because people can die on them if a boat goes down in the middle of the river, unlike a car that's tire breaks. So explain to me the difference here, how a sheriff would have reasonable suspicion when they're checking for things, because for a boat to be legal on the water, we know it has to have a horn, we know it has to have life jackets, we know it has to have oars and a fire extinguisher. So, Mr. Chairman, I guess, and Representative Harris, how does that, because sheriffs go out and patrol waterways to make sure that people are safe. So are you saying that they can't pull you over for a safety inspection? Because I'm just wondering if that's how this is supposed to work.
Representative Harris?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Representative Nicholson, they can do those safety inspections at the boat launch. A lot of sheriffs actually get paid to do those boat safety inspections. This bill prevents them from stopping you while you are operating your boat, no different than driving a car. I would argue that blowing a tire in a car can kill an entire family, let alone another family that you run into. So I don't believe we should give our rights up under the guise of safety. That's how you lose your rights permanently, and I'm against that. So with this, I'm just trying to reaffirm that we keep our constitutional rights.
Representative Digert?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Harris, I'm looking at the House Bill 548, and it talks about authority may, upon reasonable suspicion, stop and board. And on the RS, it says they may stop and upon reasonable suspicion, board. Could you describe how that functionally would work for law enforcement?
Representative Harris?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, again, that language was changed due to the concerns of one specific sheriff's office that they raised that they may not be able to do. The way they were interpreting it is maybe they wouldn't be able to stop you for a boat inspection. They can still do the boat inspection at the boat launch. So that's why I'm trying to run with the bill. So they're not prevented from doing a boat inspection, a safety inspection, quagga mussel inspection. They can do all that when you're launching your boat. When you are out towing your kids around on a tube and they want to come stop your boat for no reason other than safety to do a boat inspection, they're really overreaching into the area of, okay, now have you been drinking? What's on your boat? Can we do this? What else can we find on your boat? And that is against your Fourth Amendment right. So if they want to do the boat inspection, they do it at the boat launch. They don't need to stop you on the water unless they see you pounding beers driving your boat. That's reasonable suspicion.
Follow up?
Follow up, yeah. I'm thinking of like our CJ Strike Reservoir there's multiples of boat launches and access to get into the reservoir, and you can do it for multiple counties. So how would that work if they're not able to stop and do those boat inspections and cover all the different boat launches?
Representative Harris.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Arguably now they are not inspecting every boat that's on the water. That would be unfeasible for them to inspect every single boat that touches a lake or river or waterway in the state of Idaho currently. They can still inspect probably the same amount of boats they're inspecting. Usually they have only one boat per county, usually. So you have 2 deputies on a boat. They can only do so many boats a day. They do hire part-time staff to sit at boat launches because it is a revenue generator for the sheriff's office. They do get paid for boat inspections in this state. So they can still do the safety inspections. At the end of the day, we have constitutional rights. Just because there may be safety involved does not mean that we lose our constitutional rights. This bill simply brings back our right to reasonable search and seizures under the Constitution of the United States of America.
Representative Hawes.
Thank you, Chairman, for a comment.
Certainly.
So I think closely about these sorts of things. And one of the things I noticed about this bill that I like is reasonable suspicion. So reasonable suspicion is less than probable cause. It just means that the law enforcement officer has, some articulable fact to stop your boat. It doesn't mean that they can't stop your boat. It just means they can't, operate upon a vague feeling or something like that. They just can't stop you just because they feel like it. And I think that's what the good representative is getting at here, is that we don't want people being stopped just because, the enforcement officer feels like checking out their boat. They got to have, some articulable fact, and that can literally be like not much. This is the same standard that they use for like Terry stops, like the stop and frisk. And so it's a very low threshold. They're still going to be able to stop people if they've got some reason to stop them.
I'll take that as debate in favor of your motion.
Indeed.
All right. Further discussion on the motion. Representative Harris, there's no one signed up to testify today. There's no negative testimony. I would need to close. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to testify on House Bill 548? Seeing none, committee, we have a motion to send House Bill 548 to the floor with a due pass recommendation. Discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The motion is carried. It will be done. The committee will now consideration RS 33408. Representative Harris, you've got an RS in here. We got to do something with your RS.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, Kyle Harris, District 7, Nez Perce, Idaho, and Adams County. It is my intention that you hopefully kill this RS and it never sees the light of day.
So you'd like us to return RS 33408 to sponsor?
Correct, Mr. Chair.
All right. Committee, the RS is properly before the committee. Representative Crane 12.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was hearing that he wanted us to send this to the second reading. I'll make a motion to return RS 33408 to sponsor.
Committee, we have a motion to return RS 33408 to sponsor. Is there discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. The motion is carried and it will be done.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, committee.
Thank you. Committee, before we vacate today, today will be the last day for our page, Kyler. So Kyler, we just want to, Kyle, excuse me. We just want to say thank you so much for all your work this year. You have been a fantastic page. You've been very responsible, always on time, dependable, no matter what Liaison or myself asked you to do. You've done it cheerfully and with a good attitude, and want to let you know we appreciate it. We've got a little gift for you that we would like to present to you. So if you want to come forward.
Forward to where?
Right here.
Oh.
It's just a little gift from the committee, just to say thank you for all your work on behalf of us this year. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome.
I'm gonna shake your hand and I'm gonna shake everyone's hands.
All right.
Good job.
Thank you, Kyle, very much. Committee, I also want to let you know, we have worked extremely hard this week, so we're going to take tomorrow off. Let you guys have tomorrow off so you can get ready to, we're at the halfway point. This is week 6, we're done. So we're going to kind of celebrate a little bit that we're halfway done, hopefully, with this session. So if there's no further business to come before the committee, we'll stand adjourned.
This bill, I think, puts a stake in the ground that says we have a sovereign right to protect what's ours.